G'day guys, Joel mate Big J here, Fight View 360 tszyu Aussie Boxing Talk. Welcome to another edition. And so we're just wrapping up the Nikita tszyu mazoudier fight night that happened last night in Sydney at the ICC Arena. I'll just show my little press pass here, so you know. And thank you very much for No Limit to once again allowing me the privilege to cover their fights. The Rose brothers, George, Matt, and Trent are absolute gentlemen. They're lovely to deal with. Always have a smile, always say hello. Always good to see those boys. Look forward again to seeing them again soon. Tim Ashworth, thanks for the media pass, mate. Yeah, he's nothing but a gentleman, and I enjoy being associated with those boys. But to last night, well, last night's fight had everything. Controversies, mishaps, unwanted assaults, probably the fight of the year contender. You know, people getting exposure, that's what we want. You know, crowd doing the wrong thing. It pretty much had everything. I mean, from what I saw, obviously I got there about 5:30 in the afternoon, so I missed out on a couple of fights, but I did see the Jazzy Parr fight against the Thai girl, and as proven, Jazzy Parr had a good 6 rounds. Strong contender, fought at 122. She says she's not 122, she's like a 115, so she wants to go back down. She had a good solid win over the Thai girl, and she'll move on to the next thing. She's now 6-0. After that, we had, I think Sonny Banks was his name. I'll have to look it up. But I'll get to Mundine's nephew. He won. I can't remember his name. But the 3 main fights were the reason why it was worth the price of admission, absolutely, even though I didn't pay to go. I went for free. Conor Wallace versus Jerome Papaloni. Absolute fantastic fight. I had Conor winning 7 rounds to 5 because at the end of the fight, Conor looked like he didn't get hit, where Papaloni's face looked like he'd been hit quite significantly. Papaloni clenched pretty much all night. So I don't think Papaloni was in the right condition, or something just seemed like he was just gassed too early, where Conor was fresh all night. And Conor won that fight, and rightfully so. I said it was going to be a 50-50 fight. I said it was going to be fight of the night, and it was, until the Nikita fight come along. But an absolute brilliant fight, and now Conor Wallace goes on to the next person, whose name I can't remember, for the IBF Eliminator, to be the #1 contender for the winner of Dmitry Bivol, Arthur Beterbiev. That fight is on October 12th in Saudi Arabia. So, on to the next kerfuffle, which was the mixed Zerafa Tommy Browne fight. Now, this fight was actually very anticipated, because to both boys' credit, at the presser on Monday, which I did attend, Tommy Browne came out of his shell and pretty much put Mick in his place. He wasn't taking any Mick shit. He fired back at him. He said, you know, this, that, and the other, that Mick quit against Lara, blah, blah. You know, they were firing back and forth. It was a very good presser, and people had interest in the fight. Unfortunately, it turned out to be a complete mess, and it's a bit of a debacle, and it's a bit of a black eye on Australian boxing. So, through no fault of anyone's, not Mick's, not Tommy Browne, not any of their teams, Tommy Browne sustained a bicep injury in his left bicep, and he tore it off the bone, and it looked pretty bad. I know, because I actually went out the back and I saw it after the fight. It did not look good at all. Tommy couldn't even raise his arm. So, yeah, it looked pretty bad. I saw what happened to Andrew Maloney's bicep when he fought the Mexican fella a few months back on the Kambosos Lomachenko card. All right. Tommy, this was 3 times worse. His bicep was up to here. All right. Your bicep's down here, it was up to here. It was pretty bad. All right. It's only been a matter of time for that bruise is up real bad, and you know, Tommy will obviously need surgery to correct it, and I wish him all the best, because that's a long process, especially a man at his age. He's 41. He's not a young man. Right, well, he's not in his prime. He's still youngish, but he's not in his prime. So, certainly wouldn't want to go through that again, that's for sure. So, then the combative era started. The ref waved it off in Tommy's corner. It was very, very a weak wave. It wasn't affirmative. He was just going like, well, what's going on? And then, you know, then his trainer had to go at Mick because Mick started going that you're weak, you're quitting. I'm like, yeah, mate, you're quitting because his top bicep was torn off. I don't believe Mick knew that at the time. Then Tommy Browne's trainer, Tommy, I can't remember his last name, jumps into the ring, starts going at Mick. And then, worst of all, Mick's brother Jason jumps in. I think that's his name. Jason jumps in and clocks Tommy Browne's trainer, Tommy, which is flat out assault. You cannot jump in the ring and start hitting people, right? It's not okay. I do not condone this at all. This is violence. This is not okay. You cannot jump in the ring and assault somebody, right? Because Matt Rose jumped in the ring to break it up, and basically he dived over Matt to hit Tommy Browne's trainer, Tommy. Not okay. Felony assault, not good at all. Completely unacceptable. That's not how we work, right? Why is his brother even in the ring in the first place? Yes, I know the trainer was coming at him, but Mick Zerafa is a professional boxer who could pretty much handle himself, right? But I don't believe for a second that Tommy would have done anything to Mick anyway. He wouldn't have been stupid enough to do that. So, yeah, so on that, I think in pro wrestling, if you're unaware, that when the referees go like this, it's an X, that indicates that the wrestler, male or female, is injured and needs medical attention. Right? I know when the refs wave the fight off, it's off, but no one knows. Like, you're going like this and like it's off. Why is it off? You can't understand why the fight's been waved off. So what you need to do is, I think they need to adopt the pro wrestling mandate where they put an X in the air to indicate, hey, old mate's hurt, right? Or, you know, or the young lady is hurt. Get medical attendance now because this person's injured. Fight's over, an injury has occurred. Fight's over, injury. Excuse me. I think that would be much easier if they had a blanket reason why, if someone is injured, and of course it happens, if someone is injured, they could just go, yep, put up the X, right, they're hurt, fight's off, and everyone knows, right, this poor bugger's injured, fight is off. Because it does happen. I mean, retirement student injuries happen every now and then. It's not a common thing, but they do happen. And once you see that X, just like in pro wrestling, you know something's really wrong and this does not need to continue. And if everyone has a blanket case of like, yep, once the X goes up, old mate's hurt, an injury has occurred, they need to get immediate medical assistance, then there won't be incidents like last night where cornermen are jumping into, you know, go at other people. And, you know, if everyone puts up the X and the ref does like they do in pro wrestling, they do an X and I think they do a 360 to indicate to everyone, oi, old mate's hurt, there won't be any problems. And that will stop any confusion from happening, which would be fine. And I think if they adopted that, that would save a lot of problems, because that would save a lot of brawls. Oh, why is he hurt? Oh, he's hurt. Okay, end of story. He's hurt. Right, okay, move on. And now to Nikita Cummins' fight. Brilliant 9-round stoppage by Nikita. It was a 50-50 fight until it wasn't a 50-50 fight. Like I said to George, I had it 50-50. I didn't know which way it was going to go. Nikita certainly wobbled Cohen, I think, in the 3rd or 4th round, where he actually almost got a knockdown because he hit him, wobbled him, and he actually did sort of like a squat sort of thing. And Nikita got him out of there, got the stoppage in the 9th round. So Nikita's now got 2 regional belts, IBF, Australasian, and WBO, I think it's Intercontinental, which will get him to the top 15. I think it's the bottom top 15. It's around probably 13 or 14 of the top 15 rankings, and Nikita moves on to bigger and better things. Now, the talk is, of course, that Nikita's going to fight Zerafa next. For Zerafa's case, I don't think that's probably a good idea, because Mick has only had 3 rounds, well, really 2, in the last 2 years, since he's fought the Italian fighter, Karate. I can't remember his first name, Karate. It's been almost 2 years since he fought the Karate fighter. And I don't think Mick is ready for Nikita, because Nikita's had multiple fights in those 2 years. and been far more active than Mick has. I think Mick needs to fight Cole mazoudier first to A, get a solid win under his belt, and B, be more prepared for Nikita, because I think if they were to fight before the end of the year, I think Nikita will win because Mick's been too inactive. That's just my opinion. Yeah, I mean, Nikita has massive improvement last night. Still gets into brawls when he doesn't need to be. I know his nickname is the Butcher, but like many fighters, and Ty Telford's another one, you cannot have a war every single fight. Your fight career will be very, very short. You cannot have massive punch-ons and get busted up every single fight. Your career will not last long because the body just cannot take that. It's not good to get beat up badly every 10 rounds, every fight for 10 rounds. It's not good for you. You will have a very short career. I don't think Ty Telford even fights anymore. I'll have to look it up. Because you had those one with Jack Brubaker, another one with Dara Foley. Yeah, you just can't keep on taking massive beating after beating. Even though you're winning fights, you're still taking a beating. So I don't think Nikita needs to work on his head movement and defense was better, but he needs to stop getting into those brawls. He needs to, his ring IQ really needs to improve. His footwork and his head movement and his defense improved, but his ring IQ needs to get way higher, right? Because he'll get into a punch on. Excuse me. He'll get into a punch on and make it look like a schoolyard scrap very quickly, and he doesn't need to do that. You need to win fights. You know, every punch is not a knockout, as he said last night, but he really needs to up his ring IQ, otherwise his career is going to be very, very short, because not too many people can take those sort of beatings each and every fight. All right, it's not good for you. Breakdown of kidney tissue, breakdown of liver tissue, breakdown of, you know, all sorts of tissues. You know, and some of these organs, once you wreck them, they don't come back good. So that's it for this edition of Aussie Boxing Talk. Enjoyed myself at the fights. I look forward to going to the next one next month in September 19th. It's at Albert Park. It is a Will Tomlinson Wildfighter card. I look forward to seeing that. Going to do another video of T Street once I catch up with him, hopefully by the end of the week. Thanks for watching. Old mate Big J, Aussie Boxing Talk, and we'll talk again soon.